welcome everybody. I just wanted to kind of show you physically the calendars that we've created to help you to better understand how the ancient Enochian Lunar Solar Calendar works. Here's also one of the images. These shots were taken, they're landscape photos taken by Joy, my daughter-in-law, her father, and he does really incredible work, really beautiful. Here's the cover, which he caught a shooting star, which I thought was brilliant. But anyways, in this particular calendar we have, and we show and explain what the different days on the actual Gregorian calendar, what they are on the Hebrew calendar, what they're named, and also where we are in the year, which I do believe that we are in the year 6002, and that we are near what is the last Jubilee. And so, for instance, here we have this is February, but the first day of February was the 26th of Shabbat. And also in this year we had, in my opinion, included what is the 2nd of Adar, which was the 13th month. And we don't have this every time in the lunar solar calendar, but it incorporates what is the barley feast, and it aligns it for what is the coming of the day of first fruit, which is one of the celebrations of the 7 Levitical feast days that were given by the Most High to Israel when they were freed from the bondage of Egypt. We have Passover, unleavened bread, the day of first fruits, Shavuot, and also Yom Teruah, and the Day of Atonement, and Sukkot, the festival of Sukkot. So anyways, in this calendar we show you how how Rosh Chodesh, which is the first appearance of the waxing crescent, aligns with what are these Sabbaths, the following 4 Sabbaths of the month, each of the lunar solar months. And so God, in my opinion, established, as it says in Genesis, the 2 luminaries to regulate and to mandate night and day. And so, in my opinion, the moon, its appearance, and then the following 4 7-day quarterly phases, they are specifically regulated and aligned in such manner to maintain visually what we see as a marker for when we should honor and celebrate Sabbath. And that when you understand the greater dynamics and the workings of the universe and all the luminaries and how they come together, in my opinion, you can understand what is written about in the book on the courses of the heavenly luminaries, in the Book of Enoch, as to the calendar system which God established with the beginning of creation. And that, again, there's a visual marker that the ancient Hebrews, not having a written calendar like this, that they look to the night sky and also to the cycles, the movements of the sun, the moon, the stars, and the planets to understand the greater calendar system. And so mostly they were only focused on the sun and the moon, but as you know, the sun regulating day, you're not able to see any difference in it other than it's shortening and expanding as far as the longevity of the day, which does create the seasons. However, it is the moon which every night, looking at the sliver and the added 1/7 portion every night, that gives you a visual marker as to the unfolding of the fullness of what is the lunar solar month. And that the quarterly phases, the first quarter, the full moon, the third quarter moon, and also the lunar conjunctive moon, that they align specifically with the Sabbath weeks. and that we see in Scripture that Sabbath, and especially the high Sabbaths of unleavened bread and also the Feast of Tabernacles, that they occur on the 15th of every year. Nisan the 15th and the 15th of Tishri. And for those that have not looked into examine this, that specifically those particular days, they align with the full moons of the first and the seventh month in the Hebrew calendar. And so it's only by following the lunar solar calendar that one can, in my opinion, truly keep up with and determine the unfolding of not only Sabbath, but the Levitical feast days. And that when you look at and examine some of the stories, especially of Exodus and also Jericho, that Jericho, they were told to march around it for 7 days, and then on the 8th day they captured the city. Well, in my opinion, that story shows us that, and it is confirmed in the book of Jasher, that they began their march on what was Rosh Chodesh, the first day of the lunar solar month, and the first appearance of the waxing crescent, and that they then marched for 7 days. And it's only by this calendar that such occurrence could have happened. Otherwise, Yahuwah would have been breaking his own commandment to honor the Sabbath. But again, this story confirms that the ancient Israelites, the Hebrews, they were following this lunar solar calendar. And so in my opinion, even though it's inconvenient for the way that the world is established now, in that following the Gregorian solar calendar, we are told to work, and then it's only on the weekends, and then on the 7th day specifically, that people celebrate Shabbat. That the Jews, they celebrate from Friday at sundown to Saturday at sundown. The Seventh Day Adventists on Saturday, that's their Shabbat. And then for most mainstream Christians, it's on Sunday that they celebrate the Sabbath. But in truth, according to God's calendar, He's established the moon to regulate and to determine the Shabbats and also the Levitical feast days. And so, in my opinion, it's only by understanding how the calendar works and how the unfolding of the phases and the cycles of the moon determine the correct times for celebrating and honoring those Shabbats and feast days, that we can truly be in line with the mandate that the Most High gave to Israel and, in my opinion, to us, in honoring the Sabbath and also in honoring the Levitical feast days. And so this particular calendar is a visual, something you can hang on the wall, and then following, you can learn each day what each Gregorian day, how it equals and what it equivocates to on the actual ancient Hebrew Enochian Lunar Solar Calendar. And in that way, you'll not only learn the names of the months, and we also include in this calendar what the names of the months actually mean. For instance, here we have the Rosh Chodesh for Nisan, and Nisan actually means sprouts, miracles, and spring. So, and also it's called the month of Abib, which means green ears. And so it's during that month that spring actually begins. And so you'll learn the names of the Hebrew months, their correlation to the phases of the moon, and also when and how the Sabbaths actually move on the Gregorian calendar, and how they can actually unfold on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, depending on when the phases of the moon occur. And so this calendar will help you to better understand in the grand complexity of the dynamics of the luminaries how God has established in the creation, what is the calendar we should all really be following. And so, God bless all. I hope it helps you to better understand. And I recommend that even in following this calendar, that you go out and look to and watch for the beginning of the waxing and the first appearance of the waxing crescent every month, and that you share that with your children and your family, and so that you can better understand for yourself and also confirm as to how and what are the correct days for honoring Sabbath and for also determining the Levitical feast days. God bless all.